What character do you play in Slacktime?
What was her name again?
Anna.
Anna. I played Anna in Slacktime, Anna Karenina.
Have you showed anyone those movies here?
Other than my roommates, I showed, of course. And I think there might have been a couple of people from work one night that came over and watched them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we were all really drunk. So.
What were their opinions of it?
Well, I am above and beyond. You know, I'm obviously most proud of Slacktime because I think Slacktime was really a good outlet for acting and a different, obviously a much different film than The Dirty Jobs. The Dirty Jobs were fun, but no, not necessarily an acting prowess that you want to show off to people. Exactly, yeah. They're just fun. But Slacktime was definitely a chance to really sink your teeth into something and go for it. And it was equally as hard, not necessarily physically as the other ones were, but it was equally as hard emotionally.
I mean, you had the toughest character to play, literally, because your character doesn't say much.
Right.
But we learned the whole story of how you feel through your face, because you got the most close-ups of anyone, and you had to sell the whole thing basically by what you were thinking through your eyes.
Right. Which is hard. It's hard to do that.
Yeah.
And you have to get to a point where you're tired out and you're frustrated and just from the scene. And I think in that point you get there and then you the character starts to come through. So unfortunately, sometimes you have to be close to the state that the character has to be in to really relate to it,
What did you think of the script?
I thought the script was great. It was original. It was on the edgier, racier side,
Now, when we actually first see Anna, she's stumbling through the alley.
Right.
Screwed up.
Right.
A guy picks her up, and she does probably the worst, trick ever that a hooker can do.
Yeah.
Talk about that experience.
It wasn't too pleasant, but it was tastefully done in a way that, even though it wasn't a tasteful act or scene, I think that we still managed to do it where it wasn't flattering for the character at all, but still somehow I came away with my head held high. So it wasn't too bad.
Talk a bit about if you think Anna is really a victim or a survivor, do you think? Because she is
I think
really
she absolutely
victimized.
Started out as a victim. She let herself be victimized for quite some time, and then, of course, throughout the course of her ordeal, she becomes a survivor. She discovers that she's a survivor. I think she was always a survivor, but, anybody who is, it's a discovery rather than a transformation.
Okay.
So.
Then the last thing is talk a bit about the sex and drugs aspect. What do you think of that? Because your character, prostitute, and then there's the drugs, and then it gets pretty dark and violent, and you beat someone with a briefcase full of drugs.
Well, sex, drugs, and violence pretty much always seem to go hand in hand. Once you get deep enough into one of them, sex in the sex industry, you're gonna tangle with bad, violent people, and you're probably going to be around a lot of drugs, whether or not you do them yourself. And I think the film wouldn't have been right if one of those aspects had been missing. So, I think we tied them in all together pretty well.
Okay. And what do you think about the last scene with her on the bridge? What do you think is that?
I like that scene. It was a hopeful scene. Mm-hmm. It was nice to end the story with her. Not necessarily, we could have gone the route where she was completely successful and totally transformed and left her old life behind. And I think it was a much quieter, more subtle version of saying, she's going to be okay. Mm-hmm. We're not quite sure where she's at, but she's definitely going to be okay. She's on her way.
Okay, I guess the only way to really kind of wrap this up is to talk about the worst part of the shoot. You stuck in the bathroom.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, that was the worst and the best.
Yeah, it was the hardest thing.
It was hard, but at the same time, I think in the film it was definitely one of the best scenes.
We did that scene how many times? 6, 7 times?
Too many.
And just, I mean, working on it and just trying to find the tone of where this character is.
Yeah, it was a definite lesson in finding your emotion and getting it out there and not having another character to work off of. You're
reacting to nothing.
Yeah, you take it for granted when you have other actors to act off of. You really do take it for granted. And once you're left to your own devices, it's really a sink or swim situation, and I think we swam.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And lastly, how you think Slacktime is really good, huh?
I do. I like Slacktime a lot. It's a good film.
Yeah. And thank you, Naomi.
No problem. Thank you.